Okay, it is now 6 o'clock. All members are present with the exception of Aaron, our chair. To begin, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You guys.
Not a problem.
Pathetic. Okay, so Monday, February 3rd, we're going to start off with public announcements from the health department. Chris.
Nothing new today, just a reminder that we have COVID-19 test kits available if anybody would like them. We are running low on our Sharps containers, so if you need a free Sharps container, come by sooner rather than later. And just a public health reminder that please do not touch sick or dead birds. That's all.
Thank you, Chris.
Have there been a bunch more confirmed cases or findings locally?
Oh, no,
Okay,
not
fine.
confirmed, but we did get an email from the DPH today, just, saying that highly pathogenic avian influenza is going around, and to, beware. Same thing, the
Okay.
messaging we've had out, so nothing new.
Okay.
Keep the animals away for two.
Yeah, especially cats.
Cats,
Keep your
especially.
keep your outdoor cats indoors.
Okay.
Any other questions for Chris? All right, so then we'll move on to number 1 in our discussion action items, which is the discussion regarding private well regulations and the public hearing that we had scheduled at the end of this month. Per our health agent's recommendation, we're going to postpone that discussion, really because we have open already our model body art regulations, and it makes sense to finish this one up thoroughly before we open up that one. So we will reschedule that meeting for the hearing, and that way we can put our full focus and attention towards that when we're ready. So if all are in agreement, we'll go on to number 2. Discussion and possible vote on the NEHA model body art regulations. Chris got us all packets ready to rock. And so we'll really start to begin going through this with a fine-tooth comb. You guys ready?
Yeah, are you starting on page 11?
Yeah, if you guys are in agreement, I feel pretty confident. I mean, I had already gone through a bunch of the definitions before, and I know that there were a lot of medical professionals who were involved in creating the code, so I feel good about them all, and I think it's just going to be really time intensive to go through each one individually.
Yeah,
So
I would bow
Cool.
to your better judgment than me, myself. I can only speak for myself. But, yeah, where you're in the field, I would bow to your
cool.
better
I
judgment.
think I feel good about it, and I don't think it makes a lot of sense to change definitions that are going to hopefully at one point in time be universal.
Yeah,
They are pretty thorough.
Yeah, good.
Very
And all in
satisfactory.
agreement? So we'll move on. I believe that all of the definitions end on page 11. So we'll start at part 3, body art operator requirements and professional standards. And we can just start to go through these, maybe do a section or two, see if we have any concerns, and then we can pause and pick up so that, we're not dragging them all into one night. That would be a lot.
it seemed to me that when the public was here for this, that the big issue with our tattoo parlors is they want the 16-year-olds tattooed.
1 out of the 3 was against, but yeah, 2 were
Yeah.
for.
So I think that would be, in my opinion, just looking
The hot
through
topic.
this- Yeah,
For sure. I
would
agree
be
with you.
Yeah, and I don't know. I have it kind of in my own life every once in a while. Somebody that's 16 will come in and they want to have their own 16th birthday party, and they start ordering all of this stuff and everything. And at the end of the day, you really can't get into a contract with a 16-year-old. So I would imagine it would have to have, just by law, you can't enter into a contract with somebody that's a minor. So you would have to have that parental consent. You would have to, that would be a must. But I don't think that that's the sticking point with them, is I think they just want to do the 16-year-olds and they see it as losing business.
I mean, my gut instinct is to keep it 18 plus. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you.
I think that Eddie had some valid points. Like the alternative is that they either go to an underground shop, which is really a horrible worst case scenario, or they go
Right.
to one of the alternating towns that do offer it. But I feel like Abington, you know, I have strong standards for Abington, and I would like to see us, you know, doing wise by our youth.
I will say something.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. So I do believe that 18 should be the age. However, you know, I received my first tattoo when I was 15 in a basement. And
Yeah.
it did get infected. So I had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Since, you know, obviously I'm a big
Yeah.
tattoo guy.
Right. And how equipped is a
concerns
younger
me.
person?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, and how equipped is like a younger person to handle infection?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that, you know, these kids are gonna do it regardless. And I'd rather see some bit of direction for them and have it legalized, you know, with the consent of a parent. If it's
I think that would, for me personally, it doesn't float at all without a parental
Well, you
consent.
have to, I mean, legally,
Yeah. Of
you
course.
have to.
Yeah, I mean, because, yeah, that's just,
But I mean,
or guardian, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
the age difference is, you know, if they speak to their parents say, no, they're gonna go in a basement like I did.
Right.
And get a tattoo that I don't know how to take care of. I just get this little tattoo on my shoulder and end up having to get a really big one later on in life because it got
Right.
infected and.
Right,
you know,
yeah, I know a lot of,
I was a young knucklehead.
Yeah.
yeah, I know a lot of people that have done
You know,
that.
my own son, at 16 years old, got his first tattoo, you know? And I didn't know about it. Went to New Hampshire, got a tattoo. So I'd rather be privy to it and be aware of it and know that it's getting done right. And, you know, so you don't run into an issue of somebody getting, you know, infection or worse, you know, and then giving things, you know, so.
So you're 16 plus with parental
I'm
consent?
split, you know, because I do believe it should be 18, but
I'm
I'm
kinda
thoroughly
torn, too.
concerned about younger than 18 going out and just getting it done.
Right.
Yeah,
And having
yeah,
some bad things happen, which I can attest to, so I know they do happen. you know,
Right.
But, so, I don't know.
Right.
It's
I just don't
definitely
think
something
we-
to talk about. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we continue to chew it over, talk to the community, see what kind of feedback we get individually, and then we can bring that all back when we get to that section and then make the decision then.
Yeah.
right, yeah, because as I understand it, we weren't gonna be voting on this tonight anyway. We're not a complete board, so.
I don't
Right.
think it's something you can say yes or no without some deep consideration. You do have a
Right.
couple other communities that are doing it, so maybe we could reach out to them, see what kind of results they've been having from it, you know?
That's a great idea.
You know, do they run into issues where, you know, they'd given out the tattoos and then they had issues or
I
bad
would
experiences?
imagine that's a possibility.
You don't know.
Yeah, you know.
But again, you look at the alternative, it's like, this kid's gonna do what they wanna do, right? And you can't stop them. And I just would hate to see somebody get hurt. You know, tattoos are very popular. When I was growing up, they really weren't, you
Right,
know, but now they are.
very, yeah.
There's a lot more chances of something ultimately going wrong now versus,
Yep.
And the tattoo removal is very popular too.
yeah. So that shows that some of the choices that were made at a younger age
Right.
might not have been the right ones, you know? I mean, I still have some of the tattoos, under tattoos, because I've got them done 2 or 3 times over.
Oh, wow.
But they age, they get old, and
Yeah, they fade.
I'm just,
Change your mind.
I'm that guy, I love them.
Yeah, yeah, I've got one and it took 4 hours because it made me so sick, so. So I guess I'm not a tattoo gal. But, yeah,
Yeah.
I know the end
can-
result of-
I think we continue to mull it over. I agree. I'm split. I mean, my gut is that I think it should be 18 plus. I think we should hold Abington to high standards. I think it's a permanent decision. And if you have the right to vote, then you should have the right to make that decision for your body. But I also get that I wouldn't want someone going and like contracting a bloodborne infection
Right.
from doing it wrong, because that also would be life altering. So I hear you. I hear you. It's hard.
There are other alternatives or places for them to go. You know, and I get it, you know, I can't be concerned about the whole losing the business thing,
Yeah.
but I understand
but that's
where,
not our role.
but I understand where one of the gentlemen were coming from. It's a concern of losing business to an abutting community, but his second concern was my concern. You know, it's
Going
going to happen.
underground. Yeah.
And he cares that much about the industry where he doesn't want to see that happen. In fact, the gentleman that was sitting here probably gave you, I think, my second tattoo I ever had in my life. you know, all those years ago. And he's a really great artist, and I know that he does really care. But I don't know, it's not an easy one.
No, it's not. So let's chew it over. When we
Yeah.
get to that section, we'll review and reconvene. So everyone was in favor of skipping over the abbreviations. I mean, yes, so we'll move to page 11, body art operator requirements and professional standards. Now, do we want to kind of look at them ourselves? Do you want me to read them out? I know that for anyone listening in, Chris said that this will be available for you through the health department. I mean, why don't I start reading it out just for starters to get us going, and then we can kind of go from there? Would that be good? And then as I'm going, if someone finds something that they don't like, speak up, and then we can pause?
Sure.
Cool. A, persons performing body art procedures or any other task or function in a body art facility must use aseptic techniques. That's a given. B, the body artist must be a minimum of 18 years of age. We feel comfortable with that? I think that's standard.
Yep.
C, it is unlawful for any person to perform body art procedures unless such procedures are performed in a body art establishment with a current applicable state, county, or city license, permit, and/or other regulatory requirements as required by the applicable jurisdiction. That makes sense. Any comments there?
Yep, all good.
D, the body artist must maintain hair, skin, and clothes that are free of visible particulate matter and debris. The body artist must keep fingernails short with smooth, filed edges to allow thorough cleaning and prevent glove tears. Body artists must not wear artificial fingernails or extenders, and natural nail tips must be less than 1/8 an inch long. Nail polish must be intact without chips or cracks and must be removed and or reapplied every 7 days. I think that will be hard to monitor, but I mean, it's
As
the
you were
same.
reading that, that's what I was thinking, I'm like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, overall, the idea is you have clean fingernails.
I take a
That's
great
very
pride
thorough.
in doing my job and doing it well, but I'm
Yeah.
not measuring people's
No, right,
fingernails.
right. I think that's reasonable. I think like the general concept, like this is very in depth, but it's the same for nursing. Like if you're anywhere in any kind of procedural area, they don't want you wearing acrylics, anything that can harbor bacteria.
We get that too.
Yeah, perfect. Do we feel like we want to make changes? I'd like to keep it as set as we can.
Right.
Want to just keep it as it is?
Yeah. I would, yeah.
I think it's great the way it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't,
what we're
yeah,
trying to
I
do
mean,
is
this is
adopt these
gonna be an
laws,
awful
so-
lot to read. I'm just looking out for your
Yeah,
voice, my dear.
thank you. Maybe do we want to read individually, or we could set it as a homework assignment, so when we come in the next time, we can know what we have problems with and then discuss it that way?
I think that's a little bit more in taking with what. the
I've
board
thoroughly
usually-
read through this.
Same.
Now, probably 3 times.
Same.
Right.
It's
yeah.
overwhelmingly thorough.
Detailed,
and,
yes.
You know, whoever did it took
I feel
an
the
immense
same.
amount of time
Right.
working with
So-
other professional individuals to put it together.
I
I
agree.
think it's amazing.
I think so too.
And,
Yeah.
you know, the artists here were saying the same
In
thing.
favor,
you know,
yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't, yeah.
So I mean, maybe we don't do it this way then, and we only talk about the things that on our own we've discussed have been, you know, the issues, which is the
Yeah.
age. It's all gonna bounce
Right, yeah.
back to the age thing.
I think, yeah, that was what made me bring it up, was I think that would be the only thing.
The only thing
besides-
I can think of in this
Yeah.
entire package would be the
Agreed,
age.
agreed.
Right.
So I think we wait for Aaron to come back, we don't do the vote tonight,
Yeah.
and then we continue, we do what we said earlier, think, chew on it some more, mull
Yeah.
it over,
Yeah.
talk to friends and family.
I think that's wise, yeah.
Okay,
Can I give you a couple things to mull over?
yeah,
And I'm only bringing these up because there are some things that these regulations allow that we currently do not allow, just because it's not mentioned in our regs. These regulations allow for mobile body art establishments and for temporary body art establishments. The thought process with that, with the temporary, is like in Boston, they have tattoo conventions. So the rules in here are very specific. If it's a temporary shop, which means you know, it's not a permanent fixed
Yep.
tattoo establishment. It does have to follow all the rules. Establishments, you still have to have the sinks, you have to have the lighting, you have to have the cleanable surfaces. So they do address all the things that would be a concern. just know that by allowing that, we would allow for the possibility if somebody wanted to do a tattoo convention in town, or at, let's say, one of the Abington Celebrates, if they wanted to sell it up the table, as long as they applied for a permit, and did everything that the regs call for, it would be allowed. We could set up a fee structure for that.
They'd have to have like a van, like the water part would be super tricky.
Yeah, and they do it. They do it in
Yeah,
other
they have
places like
mobile
Boston.
trails that are
does it
set
all
up
the
for
time.
that.
Yeah.
With compressors and everything in there. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think
I've
actually
never
a couple
seen
of the
that.
folks
Oh, yeah.
over here actually are set up for that.
Bike weeks,
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting too, so you can have, you know, just like the beer fest or the, you know,
big popular
like you
stuff.
said, Abington
Oh my
celebrates.
gosh.
yeah, bring it out. The mobile ones, I know Mike at Skin Deep has an RV that he converted into a mobile shop. Obviously, he owns a shop here in Abington, so it doesn't make any sense for him to permit his mobile shop here.
Right.
He's looking at it in other towns, but, so that would allow people to come in. It would be the same as a food truck. Again, it would have to meet all the specifications outlined in here. It would have to be inspected. The practitioners would have to be licensed, so it's not any willy-nilly thing.
So you're saying
but-
like same thing with the food trucks. They just needed to get cleared through you in order to come in and do kind of any kind of
Yeah,
pop-up.
so you
event
don't have
like
to,
that.
yeah, you don't have to worry that just some, like, Tattoo Joe is gonna show up in his van. That's
wouldn't
not
be
gonna
allowed.
happen.
Now, there's
Uh,
specific
Definitely wouldn't
verbiage
be
in here
allowed.
that states about the prior inspection too.
Yeah,
That, you know, it's gonna be approved by you
yeah, they
and
gotta,
then permitted properly.
Okay.
And the henna places are the same as tattoo?
what I like about these regulations is they classify anything that injects ink into the skin is considered tattoo. I don't know, I don't think henna is actually injected, but,
Not injected, no.
the big change, and I was a little disappointed not to see anybody here tonight, is microblading. This board, several years ago, made regulations that are a little lesser for the microblading, because it was still pretty new. So this brings them in line with tattooing, because you're injecting ink into the skin. Even though it's called semi-permanent, it is actually permanent. It may not last more than 5 or 6 years, but it's still permanent. So most of any changes in this are going to affect them, and they were not represented here. I will go and speak with them.
Yeah, because you said we have a new one, right?
We have a new one, and she's very conscientious. I gave her a copy of the regulations. She was okay with that. I've had at least one illegal shop in town that I had to shut down. They were just operating out of a hair salon, and that's a problem in a lot of towns.
Question, Chris,
Yes.
microblading and microdermablation, is that the same thing or different?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the needle. There is a microdermablation, which is just taking off it's exfoliating, so that isn't considered body art. But it is also done by, it gets a little
That's
murky.
weird, yeah.
Yeah. And there's even new stuff
I
popping
think it
up
was
since these
confusing
come out.
too.
Yeah, there's a new one, there's cold branding,
Yeah.
where they use nitroglycerin on a brand, and, there's a new inkless tattooing that they use to get rid of, stretch marks, where they're just they're tattooing you with saline.
I wonder if it
So,
works.
that's what's good about these, things change quickly. So I just wanted to bring those two things up, with the question on age, just so you know as you read through this, as the regulations are currently written, there's no restriction. And I think one of the concerns that was voiced is if the regulations as written, technically, somebody could bring a 9-year-old in, and as long as the parent gave permission, our regulations would allow that. That said, body art establishments are private property, so any establishment owner can say no. So as a caveat, when you guys go through this, when we get to the section on age, you might want to put like if 16, seems that you might want to just have that wordage in there so someone doesn't try to bring in an infant and say, well, your regulations say it's okay. No sensible
gosh.
person's gonna do that, but
No. Do you remember what portion that was? Can
I
we star it now?
and I think it falls under the body art establishment section.
Okay.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah, there are specific, like, I think the branding, the scarification and stuff, it specifically says you have to be 18.
Yes.
But the tattooing, there's no age definition
Yeah.
at all, so.
I'm at page 14 is C and D on page 14 are the scarification and the branding, and they both say 18. The tattoo one's not on that page, the age.
specific regulations for tattooing and cosmetic
The
tattooing
age.
is section B, but as you see, yeah, so there's nothing in there that
So
addresses
that's
age.
where we put it then.
So, yeah, you could add,
Where are you? C, oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
C and D.
So we would put in a new number 1 and say the client must be blank of age. Parental
gotcha.
consent release forms do apply.
Okay.
So that's
read it
where we
someplace
will start then, when we next meet. Yes?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Alright.
So in that case, we will continue to look these over on our own and not go through them bit by bit.
I think
Everyone
that'd be
cool
a
with
time
that?
saver.
Yeah, it will. And I agree. We have read it all multiple times. I like read it in depth when we got it, and then I was like really wanted to know my stuff when the guys came in last week for the hearing. So
Yeah.
I feel good about it. And I agree. That's really the hot topic that we need to go over.
That's the one I see, and I'm happy to know about the henna.
yeah, I'll check on that,
Yeah,
because I think that's just surface.
I think it is too. My daughter-in-law
A
does it all the
stain.
time.
Yeah. So in that case, we'll move on to discussion item number 3, which is the vote to approve the minutes.
I read over the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 27th.
I'll second.
Thank you, guys.
All those in,
Thank you. All those in favor?
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's been a long day.
Anyone and what? Oh my gosh. All those in favor? Anyone against?
No,
No.
I'm not against. I'm
Opposed?
for.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll say aye to that.
So that's a 3-1-0 for one
I am
absent.
so sorry.
Okay. Don't apologize. And then number 4 is our health agent report. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, so, for inspections, I had a busy day today. Martin's Bakery was inspected today, Center Ave, Sunoco, Mary Lou's on Center Ave, and the Duncans on North Quincy Street and Brockton Ave. Happy to say, everybody was fine.
Awesome.
Looked good. I did issue one priority violation today. This is mentioned in the complaints. Spencer's
gosh.
Pizza on Center Ave has a cat as their pest control. It is against food code regulations, both federally and state, to have an animal in your establishment. And if you have a pet, you have to have a professional pest control company. I talked to the cat. He is not a licensed pest control professional. It's an adorable cat. Absolutely not allowed in a food establishment. I issued them a priority violation today. I told them if the cat is there tomorrow, I mean, the way the food code works, it's fine per day. If the cat is still there at the end of the week, I will shut them down and have them before the board for a hearing. And I ask that they please don't put the cat on the street. Make sure it has a
Oh my gosh.
home
thank
to
you
go
for
to.
saying that.
So
So you go back the end of the week.
I will be back daily to make
Okay.
sure it's gone. We got a complaint, an anonymous complaint, and I went before the store was open, and I have a picture I can show you. The cat was sitting on the counter looking at me.
Oh
So,
no, yeah.
And that's a problem. I mean, it's everybody. I have cats. I love cats.
Yep, that's been going on for a while.
They walk all over the place. Yeah, and listen, we didn't know about it. Somebody made a complaint. I made sure to go down before they opened because I figured the cat is probably tucked away during business hours, and there we go.
Okay.
Cats are like that.
Other complaints, we got a call with a complaint from an occupant at 585 Chestnut Street about mold and mildew. I'll be doing an inspection tomorrow. And we received a call with complaining about a mouse infestation at Lowe's. Lowe's can have cats if they so choose, because they are not a food establishment.
You know the candy bars?
Move that cat from, Spencer's over to Lowe's.
Right, yeah. The candy bars are shelf stable, so we don't permit them.
Oh,
That could be a problem, like if there is food, and that's probably why they have mice, but
yep.
All the bird seed, I bet.
I will pay a visit and speak to the manager and let them know there was a complaint. Where Lowe's is a commercial business, it's not considered a food establishment. We don't really have jurisdiction over them. But obviously, if there's mice running around all over the place, it can become a public nuisance. So I will speak with the manager tomorrow. And we had a complaint about a cat at Spencer's, which has been addressed. Training and conferences, 128 to 130, I completed the tier 2 for housing training. The tier 3 is just to be shadowed by one of our hub trainers for 5 inspections. So that'll probably happen over the next year as they come up.
Great.
Cool.
And,
Good job.
That's my report.
Thanks, Chris.
Excellent. Any public comment?
Yes, I do have one request. I've requested before. Ellen Delaney, 18 Washington Street. Do we do a CPR, AED, life-saving, whatever course at some point, please?
I,
Yes,
somebody in
I
town
mentioned
does
that too.
that.
Yeah, Lindsay, Eddie, and I are all certified trainers.
Yeah.
I just got to run it through our department head, and I'll see if we can set something up.
Excellent, thank you.
Perfect.
I'll mention that to her tomorrow.
And any correspondence?
No, none from me.
None from me.
Nothing?
Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll give you a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I say it?
Good. All those in favor. Jason. We're adjourned. Thank you.
There we go.
Sweet.